So as many of you already know, one of my big missions here in the Dragon Ball community is to clear up any kind of misconceptions. And one of the biggest misconceptions going on right now, currently in the community, is Akira Toriyama's role behind Dragon Ball Super. And I'm not going to get into the whole canon debate right now because the whole thing about canon is a constant debate amongst the community. And I know a lot of you guys watching this are very, very intelligent and you've all got your own opinions. And the reality is, even if your opinions might not coincide with somebody else's, there's probably a good reason why you feel that way. That's the way I feel. But big misconception going on about Dragon Ball Super. A lot of people are under the impression that Dragon Ball Super is 100% written by Akira Toriyama, and that is false. And people are saying that Dragon Ball Super is, that makes it 100% canon. I'm not going to get into the canon debate right now, but I am going to educate you guys. And some of you guys already know this, some of you don't. But those who don't know, I'm going to tell you exactly how Dragon Ball Super is written. The way Dragon Ball Super was written and the way it's being produced is that Akira Toriyama wrote the original draft, and he is I guess you can call it the creative supervisor. He is supervising the series, but Toriyama is not involved in the day-to-day activities of Dragon Ball Super. So a lot of people are going to sit there and they're going to blame Toriyama for what went wrong and praise Toriyama for what went right, when in some cases it's not Toriyama. The way it works is this, guys. Toriyama wrote the original draft and the original script and the original manuscript for Dragon Ball Super and submitted it to both Toei and to Toyotaro. This is why the manga of Super differs from the anime, and I'll give you some examples here in just a moment. So what happens is, on the Dragon Ball Super anime side, the guy who's running the show is a man named Kimitoshi Chioka. Now, this is what in our country, in North America, we would call the showrunner. In Japan, he is the series director. He basically calls all the shots and puts everything together. Of course, Toriyama has to sign off on it, but he's really the big shot as far as the anime goes. And Kimitoshi Chioka, this is his first gig ever as a series director. Prior to this, he worked on other anime like Kuchu Barranco and Digimon Frontiers as an episode director, but this is his first time doing a full series director. And what he does is he takes Toriyama's manuscripts and he takes Toriyama's character designs, and then he sends them out to different writers to write the Dragon Ball Super episodes. Episode 1 of Dragon Ball Super was written by Toshifumi Fukushima. Episode 2 was written by King Ryu, and Episode 3 was written by Yoshitaka Toshio. Akira Toriyama's not writing these episodes. What happens is he submits the manuscript, then they take that manuscript and they adapt it to the series. Now, in the 90s, during Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, the quote-unquote manuscript was the manga. But we don't have a manga right now, or do we? The manga is written by Toyotaro. So here's what's going on. Toriyama sends his original story idea to Chioka and Toyotaro, and then they adapt it. Chioka assigns a writer. Then he goes and he talks to Tadayoshi Yamamura, who is the character designer for Dragon Ball Super and also the director of Fakatsu no F. And he's been in the community for a long time. He's worked with Dragon Ball for years and years and years and years and years. Real big shot over at Toei. And Yamamura will design all of the characters that Toriyama drew for the anime. He'll redesign them in different kind of positions and different situations for the anime. He will also design all of the filler characters that aren't originally drawn by Toriyama, like the background characters and things like that. So the giant monster that fought Beerus in episode 2, that may or may not have been Toriyama. We don't really know. But here's the way that I've understood how it works. Toriyama will send them the manuscript, and for example, it'll say, Beerus eats food on alien planet, doesn't like the food, blows it up. In the manga, he didn't like the food because it was poisoned. In the anime, he didn't like the food because it was too salty. Same idea, different reason. Why? Because there's two different minds behind it. Chioka and Toyotaro. Same thing with later on, or earlier in the episode, when Goku is dreaming about fighting, and Toriyama sends him the manuscript. Goku is on a radish field dreaming about fighting, right? Toyotaro actually puts a daydream of Goku fighting Frieza, Cell, and Buu, but in the anime, we don't see that because that's not how Yoshifumi Fukushima wrote the episode. So again, here's what you guys got to understand. Toriyama is writing the draft for the series. He is not writing each individual episode. Does that make it canon to you? He's writing the overarching story, but he's not writing every episode. Do you think it's canon? I'm not going to get into that. Like I said, the Dragon Ball canon is very complicated, especially with this information. But I just want to let you guys know to clear up that misconception about Toriyama's involvement in Super. He is not writing every episode script for script. He can't do it. There is not a single person, anybody, who can write a script for every single episode of every TV series. There's way too many scripts. There's way too many deadlines. They cannot be met by one man. It is not possible. That's why there's different writers in every episode. So I wanted to hit you with that information and spread the word with this information. Let everybody know. I hope it doesn't just blow the whole canon thing out of the water, but it is information that you guys should be aware of as far as Toriyama's involvement in Super. So the pacing might not necessarily be Toriyama. The extra characters, probably not Toriyama either. So anyways, guys, thanks again for watching. I'll catch y'all down the road.